From this day forward, I want to commit the rest of my life to being used by Jesus. That does not mean that I have all the answers. That does not mean I'm a know-it-all. There are churches all over this country, all over the world, that and there are phenomenal preachers, there are phenomenal whatever. There's just so many people that are being used by God. But I truly do feel a call on my life. I've actually felt it for a long time, and I do want to answer that call. I've ran from that call multiple times. Yes, God is calling me into ministry, and I'm not saying He's calling me there today to go get behind the pulpit today and, do all these different things, but I do feel like He is leading me slowly into that direction. But I will say, one thing that irks me, even, and I hate to even have to say this, but even with churches, is we all focus on salvation. We all focus on, getting right with God, all that, and that's great. Your soul salvation is the most important thing. But one thing that doesn't get addressed in churches, especially in the South, is our health. And I'm not the right person right now to be preaching at anybody about being healthy, because I've struggled with weight my whole life. I know what that struggle is like. It's a hard struggle. That food addiction is a tough battle. I'm literally gonna have gastric bypass surgery so that I can help get control of my diet. This week I did lose 7 pounds doing carnivore, but even with carnivore, I still struggle. And so I'm wanting to use the surgery as this thing that will kind of jumpstart the weight loss, because if God's going to use me in ministry to help others, which I do believe He is doing, just through having my YouTube channel, I believe that Jesus is reaching people. But if I'm ever gonna truly help people, I also gotta help myself. And so I am doing what I need to do to be around for my daughter, and I hate that it's taken having surgery. But thankfully we have medical doctors that can help. But it's still gonna take me, even after the surgery, to stay committed to my plan, stay committed to my weight loss journey as far as making good decisions. I made it all the way through Thanksgiving without caving into the carbs and the junk food. Now, I'm not getting on here saying that everybody can't have veggies, can't have whatever, because honestly, I was just reading in Genesis the other day, and there were people had vegetables in the Bible, and even grains were mentioned in the Bible, but it wasn't like what people are having today. And they definitely didn't have all this seed oil like we do today, and they didn't have all this manufactured, not whole food stuff. But I do feel that God is wanting to take me deeper in His Word, and wanting to take me and use me to help other people. Yes, win their soul, but what about their health while they're here on this earth? Because our body is the temple, and I have destroyed this temple for years and years. I have destroyed my health in so many ways. I'm 32 years old, 400 and something pounds, was right at 500 pounds, miserable. But I don't want to live like this forever. I do not want to live like... It's even held me back in church. There's been so many times that I wanted to go up front and, get excited and maybe even jump around and just feel in the joy of the Lord. But my body is so weak and tired because of the junk that I put in it for years that it's hard for me to even do that. Or you're so overweight, you're so out of shape, you feel embarrassed. You feel embarrassed because people are going to look at me. I'm just this fat slob. And people may act like they don't feel that way, but people that are struggling with their weight, they do have thoughts about what they're going to look like. What they're going to look like. What image are they portraying? I know that we're created in the image of God, but I don't think God ever intended for us to sit around eating donuts and for us to sit around eating peach cobbler. And, you know, my mom always made blueberry surprise. And I love that stuff. And blueberry surprise is like a dessert that's definitely not healthy. But, and I love all that stuff. But even in our churches, all over the country or the world, definitely in the South, man, we're always doing everything we can to get out of church on Sunday. That way we can go eat the biggest carb meal that we could ever think of. We're trying to, hey, what kind of event are we going to have for the church where we can get together and eat a bunch of junk food? It happens, and nobody talks about it. Maybe like your trainers talk about it or something like that if they go to church, but it's never preached. It's never preached to truly take care of your temple. Now, we do talk about drugs and alcohol and all that stuff, and I'll tell you, I'll be the first to tell you, if it was not for Jesus, I would still be either drunk or high. My wife can tell you, me not in church is not a good thing. Because me not in church, I have such addiction in my family history. I don't want to get all into my family history, but there is a lot of addiction. And there's even people that God wanted to use in my family years ago that aren't in church today. I don't want to be another one of those people that God wanted to use, but I said no. That's why I want to answer the call, because I do feel like if I don't, there's going to be blood on my hands, because God does want to reach people. I don't have to be the biggest TV preacher. I don't have to be the, whatever. But this little small community that I have here on YouTube, I can tell you about Jesus. And I can tell you what He's done for me. He's the reason I'm sober. He's the reason I'm sober. And I'm not against AA classes, people going to AA. But for me, what has helped me stay sober is getting in my Bible every day. Every day. That keeps me sober. That keeps me wanting to be the man that I need to be. Wanting to be a man that has integrity. A man that my family can be proud of. And whenever I say that I'm accepting the call, I'm realizing that accountability comes with that. And dedication comes with that. I just started with another young guy from my church doing we're going to go through the whole Bible in a year. And I mean, we could do it quicker than that, but I'm also doing separate Bible study outside of reading the Bible with him every day. So we're just doing 3 chapters a day to get the Bible done in a year. Well, it's actually like 13 months because we went ahead and started now. But also, I want to bring some of you guys on that journey. If anybody would like to read the Bible in 2026 from front to back, let me know. Let me know if that's something you'd like to do. That's not a, I'll twist your arm if you don't do it. That's not anything like that, me pressuring you that you have to do it. But if it's something you'd like to do, ask yourself, have you ever read the Bible all the way through? Because there's a lot of people that say, hey, I'm a Christian, or I believe in God, but they've never even read their Bible all the way through. Never. How do I know? I've done it. I've went to church and, put on that smile and chose not to read my Bible. I want to know His Word. Not that I'm ever going to know everything. I'm never going to know everything. There's people that are a lot smarter than me. Guys, I'm an 8th grade dropout. I dropped out of school in the 8th grade. I got my GED. Thankfully, I made it through college. I got a bachelor's degree and I have a job and everything's great on that front. But I was an 8th grade dropout. I never went to high school, and plus I live in Alabama, and Alabama ain't the smartest state, okay? I know that we ain't the brightest. If there's one thing that I do know, the Bible does say, study to show yourself approved. King David even said, hide your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. So if I want to be the best Christian I can, I'm going to have to hide His word in my heart. And also, I've got to get healthier. Because this is the body that God gave me. This is the body that God gave me to walk through this earth with. And if I'm ever going to reach people, I need to be healthy. What if God called me on a mission trip to go to some other country and witness to those people, and I have to go walk long distances or whatever, but I'm 400 and something pounds and I'm out of shape and I can't hardly breathe? How am I going to do that? I'm not going to be able to do it because I'm like, hey, give me another bucket of fried chicken. And you can laugh at that, but it's a serious problem. And the church has got that wrong because we're always about that next event, and let's see how much junk food we can have, and cake and ice cream at the parties for the kids, and it's my whole life, man. Every birthday party revolves around cake and ice cream, or cupcakes and cookies. And yes, it's fun in that moment, but it's not great in the end. Because I'm dealing with it now, and I'm struggling now because of choices that I made back then. That's why I want to make these changes now and get in my word now and learn about Jesus. I don't want to wait till I'm one of those people that's on my deathbed and then's like, God, I want to accept you into my life now. I want to, sorry that I had all those years and I could have read your word, but I chose not to. I could have went to church, but I chose not to. I don't want to do that. I have right now. I accept the call. It's going to be hard and it's scary. I feel like there's been times in my life where I felt like Jonah, where God asked Jonah to do something and he's like, nah, I got other plans. I'm going to do this instead. I'm not going to do that. There have been times in my life that I've been trying to serve God and just walked away. I'm thankful for His grace because He allowed me to come back. Even when I was 14 years old and had been going to church a little bit, I wasn't raised in church. I was never raised in church. I started going to church with a relative that was picking me up and taking me, and I actually started living with them some at 14 years old, and which was a good thing. But even then, I started going out and partying and all this other stuff, and got behind the wheel of a car. I stole my brother's Camaro when I was 14 years old, was driving it side to side, fishtailing it with my buddy down the highway, and we flipped it head over heels. And I tell people, we flipped like this, and God turned my life upside down, literally. Because in that moment, I didn't care about nothing else but God. I was thinking, if I'm dying right now, and the car slid down this ditch and went almost to this creek. Thankfully, we didn't land in the creek, but it stopped before we got there. The top of the car crushed like a good ways in, but thankfully it stopped, and we were both okay, got scratches and all this other stuff, and I was super sore for like a week. But God used that moment to shake me. And there's even been times since then that God has used to shake me. And He has ways. Trust me, He has ways. I hope I encourage some of you guys that we can get healthy. But carnivore, I love carnivore. It's not more important than God. Some of these doctors are making carnivore, and content creators are making carnivore this thing that's like, that's the carnivore saves me. Carnivore saves me. No, Jesus saves me. Jesus is the one that saves me. Now I can try eating a lower carb lifestyle, whether that be carnivore, keto. I can use one of them lifestyles and be healthier, live a healthy life. But I'm sick of people just being like, this is the only way that you can be healthy. That's not true. There's people that do keto that are in excellent health. And a lot of times, ones that really have to do carnivore is because they've already done so much damage to their body for years and years and years that it's taken that extreme to kind of get them, I don't know how to say it, but get them healthier. To get them, because they've done so much damage. But let's imagine that this was day one of your life. You're a brand new baby. If you were a brand new baby and you didn't have obesity and you didn't have all these health problems, you didn't have all this stuff because all the junk we've been putting in our body. If you took 10 brand new babies and you gave them meat and you gave them some low carb veggies and you gave them a little bit of fruit, like some berries, like Dr. Berry talks about, I bet you'd have healthy kids. I bet you would. The problem is not every single little veggie or every single little fruit. But the problem is a lot of us have gotten so far out there and gained so much weight that we can't hardly even lose the weight. We can't hardly even reverse the issues that we have because we've done so much damage that it takes literally only eating meat, because we got to have protein. So we got to just eat meat to finally see the scale start moving, or to finally see the inflammation come down. I've told you guys about inflammation in my shoulder, but it takes that extreme for us to start seeing results. So no, I'm not against carnivore. I think it's incredible. But that's the reason I changed my channel name, because there was so much. If you have one little thing, I would try to make videos for you guys smoking barbecue meat and stuff, and if I put black pepper on it, I'd get chewed out by people. And I don't even know why I'm going into that rant, but I'm not living my life like that no more. Carnivore is awesome, but it's not the most important thing. Jesus Christ is. Love you guys. God bless.